I learned also, it's like if you're stuck in traffic, getting angry, this is just an example. Why getting angry doesn't do anything. How about look for something that's good? Maybe you're happy your car's organized. Maybe it's a beautiful day. If it's raining and you can see it, be thankful for your eyesight. I mean, I go down to the nitty gritty. I told you, I'm grateful for my toothbrush. And that's one of the things that makes me unique, is that I have been through a lot in my lifetime, and I've had many failures. And my persistence is relentless. My get up and go again is relentless. I have failed so many times, but I have gotten up more than I have failed.
Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.
Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspired Show. It's been a great week here at the Daniel Gomez Inspired Studio, and it's a new season. Summer is almost over, and we're about to enter the fall season, which I love. September's halfway through, and then we have October and the holidays. And, I just love Christmas myself. I'm wearing red today. My guess is her background's red. And I just think of Santa Claus. And I want to welcome to the show right now, Ms. Madeline. How are you doing?
I am amazing and so honored to be here. Thank you for having me, Daniel. This is great.
No. I tell you, I just got to say, we've had a lot of virtual events that we've done together, and I just love your energy. I love your positivity, and I get a chance to catch some of your content, and I really enjoy it. I think you'll bring a lot of value to the Daniel Gomez Inspired Show, to our audience. And I know who you are. You're amazing. I say, yeah, she's a woman with a beautiful, sexy high heel, that red high heel. Right? But let the world know that here at the Daniel Gomez Inspired Show, who are you? Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, and just give us a plug-in of your amazing self.
Okay, so I'll plug myself in here. I love that. Give us a plug-in. That's awesome. So my name's Madeline Faiella. I'm Italian. That's Faiella. I'm just a gal from Jersey who's been blessed to do some amazing things in my life. I sang professionally for 25 years, traveled the world, sang on top of the World Trade Towers. With the fear of heights, I've reinvented myself a number of times, and each time to my own success. So I believe, and my mission is to reach at least 10,000 women in the next couple of years, so that they understand that they can do some new and amazing things. I don't care if you're making a pancake. If it's new, give yourself credit. So I am, by behavioral superpowers, are influencer and creative. Yes. And I just learned that, so I want to share. I love family and friends, all the normal, and I'm an ice cream freak, and I love blueberries. How's that for the casual intro?
I'll tell you what, I love blueberries. I call them brainberries. My wife always gets a kick. She goes, why do you call them brainberries? I mean, they're actually good for your brain and for your memory.
They are good for your brain. But on the more serious, and maybe share this, is that I'm also a public speaker, a certified strategic life coach, a certified civility advocate. I worked in the legal field for about 18 years. I have been an entrepreneur for about 6. I have always had something on the side. When I had even my singing gigs, I always had something on the side.
What I want to know about is, where did the red high heel come from? I met you through Chris Salem. And I was like, who is this lady with the red high heel? Right? Just kind of going through that and seeing the red high heel. And then I see the high heel wherever I go. And tell me about it. Because I like high heels, right? I love my wife to wear high heels. So tell us.
I love it. I love it. So I'm 5'2", but in my mind, I'm 6'4". So I always wear heels. And red is my color from decades. I love red. And for me, the heel represents taking that next step, no matter how small, that next step will lead you to a leap. And you know what? All the years I danced in heels on stage, to me, it represents one step at a time. And that's how you lay your life out. So that's what the red heel is all about. It's very representative of who I am and who I would love to see you be as your unique self as a female entrepreneur.
Well, I love what you said. Wow. Okay. So this is the part of the show where I tell my audience it's time to get your paper and your pen out because something magical happens when you put pen to paper. You remember it longer. And so listen, take notes. She just dropped a value bomb right there. The smallest step leads to the biggest leap. I love that. The smallest step leads to the biggest leap. I think many of us, Madeline, and I'll let you chime in on this, of course, because you're my lovely guest.
Aww.
We take a small step. And instead of celebrating that small step, right, we downgrade it. We talk about it like it's nothing that's big. And I was guilty of that. I've been guilty of that sometimes too. But it's what you just said after that. The smallest step leads to the biggest leap. Talk to us about that if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. So I want to say that I've done all this and I continue to do it. But I'll confess, I'm transparent. There are some days when I don't because I'm human. So every day I try and do at least one new thing in my business, one new thing as a person. And in the morning, I have something that I do. You know, I meditate, I read, I do my gratitude writing. And these are tiny steps. Sounds like nothing. And when I started doing this religiously, my life changed.
How did it change?
It changed because my confidence, my self-esteem, my faith, my spirituality, my creativity, my divineness all just blew up inside of me. And I became more aware of what little things can do. Because I'll be honest, I was like the big chomper. You know, I'm like, well, I'm going to go for that. Boom. And where do you find yourself? Back down on your hiney. So little steps. I think that what happens with many people is they have a tendency to look at the end product or vision or whatever it is that we want. And that's good to keep in mind. However, you cannot just go from ground floor to penthouse without some steps in between. Because here's what I have to say about this.
I love that you cannot go from ground floor to penthouse overnight. Boom, no. Baby. How many? Hey, yeah. I'm guilty of that.
Right? We all are. We all are. That's why I say it. Because
I want the penthouse. Forget the, I don't want the Happy Meal. I want the filet mignon, baby.
Exactly. And I can tell you, I'm going to be really transparent here. I can tell you that as a singer, I had that life. But my gratitude wasn't pumped up enough. I focused on the wrong things. I forgot my spirituality connection. So I was basically a brat. But I didn't know that. I lived in fear. I had a gap between the stage and my reality. And now that I know decades later how to reinvent all of that so it's productive, I do that for other people. For me, it is so important that I have at least one or two friends that I can be a confidant with because we all fall. If you fall from the penthouse and you haven't built at least a couple steps in there, it's going to hurt. And you're not going to bounce back as quickly. But when you take that one little step, the next little step, then you leap 3 steps. Then you take, because every level is a new devil, right? So you take another level. Let's take it, you're making 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures in your business. That next level, you better get your mindset ready, because if you feel like, oh, that's it, I'm going to have the penthouse, and you're living in a shack, and there's no judgment because your shack could be sexy. But if you want to leap, you're not ready to think that way unless you take the little steps in between toward that end goal.
I love that. You know, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
it's okay.
You're being transparent, so I want to be real too.
Yeah.
This year, 2020 has been phenomenal for me. I know the world's going through what it's going through, but for our business, it's grown tremendously. And it's doubled really from last year. And then we just bought this new house about a month ago, 2 months ago. And man, it's just a different altitude, right? A different level, a different level. You said from the ground level to the penthouse. So we're like in between now, right? We're on the penthouse. But it's a big difference from where we were. And I'll tell you, I didn't think I was going to have such a hard time embracing the next level of success.
Sabotage.
Yeah, I caught myself. And the good thing is I caught myself, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. So what I kind of thought to it, because in our other house, our house was a very beautiful house. We renovated a lot of it, but it wasn't to the magnitude of this house. And no matter what we did to it, it wasn't going to be this house. It was a 2-story house. So my mind was like, hey, well, coffee, go down the stairs, get your coffee, come back up. Because I did that for almost over 15 years. Well, the stairs are gone. There's no stairs because it's a 1-story house. And then the more time I spent here, the excitement, not that the excitement wore off, and my subconscious thinking kind of clicked in, and I didn't embrace the next level. There was a part of me that just didn't feel like it was deserved to an extent, right? Talk to us about why that happens, Madeline.
Oh, I just got goosebumps. She's deservedness. Oh my goodness. I can't believe you brought that up. You know, when we're in alignment, whatever we need to talk about comes up. And this is something that I struggled with. And I want to say to everyone that, you know, working on yourself isn't something you do and then like it's done. It's a forever deal. Every day, one little thing. So we may not feel that we deserve something because maybe at the root cause of everything, we subliminally have a paradigm of lack. We were brought up, even though maybe our parents were as loving as could be, they only knew what they knew, and we don't have the money. Money doesn't grow on trees. And so you go on, and you see things when you're going through all of this. And then, you know, you hear more stories, teachers, friends, people who mean well. And it sits in that reptilian brain where you're at fight or flight. And when we see something that is so magnificent, we believe and drop into our fear instead of opening our arms. And just like Chris will say, you know, receive without resistance. So I believe, and I love looking at the brain, but I'm certainly not a neurosurgeon, thank goodness. But that reptilian brain has 2 things to do: keep us safe and do what we want. So in order for us to take that little step to get and walk into and embrace that new place you're at, every day, do just one thing that is different in that home. One thing, and be intentional. I'm taking my coffee and it's 1 floor. Look at the ease of this. Look at this. It'll always be this easy. This will be the path. This is beautiful. And just do that for 1 day. And then the next day, 1% more. Embrace a piece of that house and embrace it with your beautiful wife and embrace that God has given you what you deserve. We stop our deservedness. Because we are, right? We are our own worst enemies. We stop our deservedness. So
I want you to write that down right now, audience. No one is responsible for, sometimes I think we blame others and we want to point the fingers. And I think before I would do that, that was me. But we are responsible, like Madeline said right now, we are responsible for our deservedness. And it's powerful, right, that we're talking about this, because I was like, well, see, I told you. we had an outline, but it goes to the other side, which is because that's praise God, right? So let me ask you this. Why do you think that? Like, you know, you talked about sabotage and you talk about that. So talk to us, because many people don't realize what self-sabotage looks like. Okay. I'm aware of a lot of things. So like for myself, I just like, you start to overthink things, but talk to me why do people, okay, first of all, you can answer this question. Why do people do that? Give us one takeaway why they don't have that deservedness that they should. I know you talked about the parents, but maybe you can go in a little bit more depth to that. And then,
Sure.
then you could tell us a couple of things that people do when they sabotage that. That way they can be aware of it. Because I believe somebody's going to listen to this episode and be like, oh crap, I just did that, right? So talk to us about that.
So self-sabotage, I think when it begins, we're not aware. So the first thing is to take a real honest assessment of yourself. If you're not getting what you want, if you're not where you want to be, look at your patterns. This is why I like journaling, because if you journal, you can highlight the similarities in all your journaling and you can find patterns. So you can see right there, look at that yellow highlighter. Every time I reach this level, I pull myself down because we're used to a particular temperature. So I see you're in a room and it's 75 degrees, but now you want it to be 100 for some reason, but you subconsciously bring it back down to 75 because that's where you're comfortable. Even though you tell yourself, I want it to be something different, and you may even reach it, which I know you and I have both done in our lives, and so has everyone else. You reach it, and the unfamiliarity of not feeling as though we deserve it, we self-sabotage by doing something to make ourselves make a bad choice. That's that reptilian brain that says, oh, you want to be safe. Why does that happen? We haven't done enough work on ourselves to get past that mindset. And I can speak for myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you say, I hear someone say, well, you know, I want a new car. Great. Go to the car lot, sit in the car that you want. You're going to start noticing that same car on the street. Feel it, believe it, know that you deserve it. If you believe in God, I do, you do, why would we be put here to suffer? We create the suffering. And there's nothing wrong with wanting things, as long as your heart knows that you will do good with those things.
Yeah, and I tell you from experience, because I think sometimes like God allows us to go. How can I say, like, in other words, he puts you in the fire, right? If you think about it, he put Daniel in the lion's den because that's where he was going to grow. He knows our personalities. He knows the way we're going to react. Everybody's going to react different because everybody's wired differently. Everybody has a different personality. And I think for us, like, he places here and it's like, then, okay, because this is the thing that I've realized in my own journey is that those things that hinder us at that moment, we don't see them until we get there.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is that this is a good example of that is I'll never forget. We went to a conference in Florida probably like 2 years ago. My wife went in. They were doing an exercise on forgiveness. I'm like, well, we forgive everybody, right? Like, we don't have nobody to forgive. And then I remember one of the ladies said, hey, you need a partner? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And then, like, by that time I turned around and Madi had a partner already. So I said, yeah, sure. You know what? And it's amazing how the Holy Spirit will remind you. And it wasn't even, it was a second year conference. And like, and old employees came up out of nowhere. And I just started crying. It was a great exercise of healing.
It's beautiful.
I truly didn't have any inclination of unforgiveness in my heart. But the thing is, it arises as that new level of life, that as you're going from the ground level, like you said, to the penthouse.
Yes.
Every floor is going to give you something that you got to deal with to heal.
Yes.
And the thing is, it bothers me when people say, why would you forgive so-and-so? And it's like, well, yeah, you did, but there's a deeper level of healing to handle the next level of blessing.
Oh, that's so good. There's a deeper level of healing to handle the next level of blessing. I love that. And it's absolutely true. It's easy to say that you forgive. Sorry.
Yeah, so I've seen it in my life. And I want to encourage my audience right now, like, hey, you got to let your heart heal. Because in that heart, as you heal your heart, like Madeline was saying, you're going to get higher to the next levels. And maybe somebody's saying right now, Madeline, I don't want to be in the penthouse. Well, it's okay, but there is another level of success that God has for you.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you this. Let's do a little shift here. You were an amazing singer. You'd had a lot of success when you were younger. Tell us a time in your life when you lost your confidence, and what did you learn about yourself?
Okay, so I'm going to shift this a little bit to our identity. And this is important for when you are going from the bottom level to the penthouse. That can be being the best mom. That could be whatever. I just use that because it's easy to see and because I like rooftop gardens. So anyway, when I stopped singing, I had a 2-year depression. Mainly because I felt that I lost my identity, because we are not what we do. We are the being that is doing it.
I love that.
The being that is doing it is that being that you connect to when you've had a beautiful meditation, or when I'm talking to you right now and I've got goosebumps, when I know that I'm in alignment with someone's energy, when I know that I'm in alignment with my own energy, I can see that next step. And I know now that it's not what I do, it's who are you? I lost my identity. And 2 years of almost fatal depression, I pulled myself out and went back to university. It was just the way it worked out. And the reason that I was able to pull myself out is, and I would wish and invite everyone to write down all your strengths and all your weaknesses and embrace all of it, because it's all there as a lesson. I had so many weaknesses that I thought were wrong. What if nothing is wrong? Stop beating yourself up. Allow yourself. You can't allow anyone else until you allow yourself.
I love that. Boom. That's a boom right there. Your identity is not who you do. What you do. Your identity is not who you be. I love that. Say that again. Your identity is not what?
Their identity is not what you do. It's the being inside of you that is doing it. That is who you are. It's who you be.
That's for somebody right there. I don't know who that is for, but that's
for someone.
That's a powerful word right there. So what did you learn through this whole journey of those 2 years about?
Oh, I learned a lot. I learned that no matter, and I'm just going to be blunt about this because I usually am, but it's easier, right? Why dance around? And also, I really, 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 part of my mission is please be yourself, no matter what. Be yourself. But what I learned was no matter how much money you make, how much applause you get or likes, of course, I didn't have Facebook then, no matter where you travel to, no matter what you do, I'm going to say do, what you do. And I did a lot of things. Skiing from Switzerland to Italy, heli skiing, going up in helicopters, being behind the Matterhorn, and I'm afraid of heights. However, I didn't identify with who I was being. I was identifying with what I was doing. This is why a lot of people, when they lose a job, they get into a deep depression. Oh, because they are the job.
That's their identity.
Right? Or when people retire, some people just die. They find nothing. They feel there's no purpose because they have no true identity. When I wake up in the morning, I don't know if God's going to come knocking at my door. All I know is who I am, and that means standing in your integrity. Each time we get knocked down, boy, I have learned some lessons. Each time we get knocked down, know that there's a lesson to be learned. And I'm very grateful that now it's a quicker process.
Yes.
As you practice, I call them the appetizer principles, like one little thing a day, every single day, something a little different. I don't care if you go in your living room and walk around the living room left and right. One little thing so that your brain knows you're in charge. So that your heart, which has like 18,000 brain cells in it or more, your heart starts to connect. Once we get that mind-body connection, we feel totally different. Totally different. It's a feeling of wholeness.
Yeah, and as you say that, and what comes to mind, because like, I guess when I caught myself, I would go outside and say, hey, I deserve this beautiful swimming pool. I deserve this house. The house is a blessing. I receive it.
Love it.
And I do that, right? And then I thank God. Thank you, God, for our new house. Thank you, Father God, for our new driveway. Thank you, God, for our new living room set, for everything, right? And that's part of the reprogramming and reconditioning, because,
yes,
for almost 2 decades, for almost 20 years, we were in our old house, and that was our environment. And your mind's like, what's going on? And you can see it in your dogs, right? Our have 2 little dogs, Bucket and Sophie, and you see it like, okay, you're here, and you're here, but where the hell are we?
Right, exactly. You have to be able to see past that. And there are days when it's more challenging than other days. But you picture yourself where you want to be, because it's already out there.
Yes.
It's already out there. So it's kind of like people say, well, I hit a wall. Look at it as like the 7 veils. I forget the verse in the Bible, but the 7 veils. It's a veil. So when we learn that we can do things with more ease, you can blow that veil out of the way. No one's put any wall for us to hit except us. So there's an example. It was either an elephant or a horse, and they chained it to a certain distance. Okay, so this went on for like ever. And even when the chain was off, they never went any farther. And that's what we do. We chain ourselves to the old stories that run in our mind. We live in that same paradigm. And I know Bob Proctor really talks about this in a magnificent way, how to get out of that paradigm. We do like the elephant. Well, this is all I ever had was these 7 feet of space. This is it. But you've got to take that little step in your red high heel and take another little step and then take a leap. And that leap really is supported by faith.
Amen. So what did you learn about yourself during this season that you came out of your depression?
I learned that I didn't know enough about myself, that I wasn't aware, that I was placing my focus on the material things and focusing on the negative. Can you imagine? I was focusing on the negative, and a friend of mine mentioned this to me because I was focusing on something negative. It's like you have a plant, and plant's beautiful, but it's got one little rotten leaf on it. And you just focus on, oh my God, that rotten leaf. But then meanwhile, the plant's just ready to bloom, and you're focusing on that rotten leaf, and your brain and your mindset are going downhill. I learned that.
Why is that? Why is that you have a beautiful plant and you focus on the dead leaf? I love that analogy.
Yeah, because we naturally go to what's wrong. We have to train ourselves to go to what's good, even if it's the smallest thing. And I have challenges with this. Everybody does. Even if it's just, all right, maybe the little branch is broken. Just take it off. Look at that beautiful plant. But we do the same thing with ourselves. Or like you're looking up at that penthouse. We just use it as an analogy, because it's congruent. And you look at all the stairs and you're like exhausted before you go because you're leaping out into the future. Take one little step. If you look down, what do you see? This is what I learned. One little step. I learned that I had such courage, and I didn't give myself credit for stepping up as a single woman, leaving the United States and heading out to Europe to meet people I never met before, to go and travel with them, and then sing for royalty. And if I knew then what I know now, when I know that saying is used up, but it is true. Yes. It is true. I learned that I had so much and I wasn't grateful enough. So I am grateful. I'm grateful for my toothbrush.
Wow, that's a word of wisdom right there. Sometimes we have so much,
Yep.
and we're not grateful for it. Man, you're hitting me in the heart right now.
We forget.
You know why? Yeah, well, it's not about, for me, I think what that plant story spoke to me, right? That plant story spoke to me. So right now, I want you to speak to our women audience that's out there, and the men, of course, but I think
Yes.
women right now, and I say women because we're coming into Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, and I really want you to just give a word of encouragement to them right now. I don't know why, but I've never done this before on my podcast, but I want you to take a moment and just speak to those women right now that maybe they lost their identity in their job, or they lost their identity as a wife, or they lost their identity somehow. Just give them a word of encouragement.
Absolutely. Having gone through some of these things myself, there really is a way through and around what we're going through. Through meditation, journaling, and just loving yourself in a non-arrogant but beautiful, beautiful way, like the diva that you are, divine, intuitive, valuable, able, really accepting that that's who you are. You are divine. We are connected, whatever it is that you believe in, the universe, God, quantum God, whatever it is. And you are intuitive. When we let go of everything, that being who we are, not what we do, will guide us. All we need to do then is do it with ease and have some patience. You're valuable. You are so valuable. The world is made up to me like a jigsaw puzzle. And without you, the puzzle doesn't work. Without you, where you are right in this moment, the puzzle doesn't work. We need you. You are so needed, and you are able. You are able to pull up courage and tap into your power and to move forward. We're afraid because when we see something unfamiliar, we think it's bigger than us. We are bigger than anything. Our power, our energy. We can literally move mountains, but you can only do it even if you did it a spoonful at a time. So put that heel on, take one step at a time. Don't look at the rotten leaf, look at the good leaf. Look at the good leaf. And my blessings and prayers go out to everyone. I had cancer, but I didn't suffer, and it never came back. But I remember the feeling. You are all in my prayers. You are all warriors. You are all divas. You are divine, intuitive, valuable, and able. And yes, you want to use your mindset to move forward. If you're working and you want to do something, get a skill set and find someone to help you with the strategy. When we focus on others, this is something that I learned. When I focus on others, take it away from me, I feel a lot better.
Yeah, that's true. That's exactly true. Thank you, man. That was powerful. Thank you, Madeline. That was beautiful right there. So what makes Madeline distinctive? What makes you distinctive, unique to who you are? Tell us about that. Show us what that beauty is, or what is that?
I think that part of my uniqueness is that while I can be very definite in what I want, at the same time, I'm very able and willing to go with the flow, which has given me the opportunity to reinvent myself throughout my life. There's something that clicks in my head when I can feel that I have to go left instead of right. And while it's looking away from my vision, I know that it still needs to be taken. I know there's a lesson I have to learn. So I'm good with that. The other thing
I love that, right? I read something actually that spoke to that, right? Is if I hit an unexpected detour,
yes,
I look for the adventure.
Exactly.
That's something that I need to work on, because sometimes I hit a detour and I'm like, oh man, but it's embracing that adventure that we need, like you said, that lesson that we need to learn. That's awesome.
I learned also, it's like if you're stuck in traffic, getting angry, this is just an example. Why getting angry doesn't do anything. How about look for something that's good? Maybe you're happy your car's organized. Maybe it's a beautiful day. If it's raining and you can see it, be thankful for your eyesight. I mean, I go down to the nitty gritty. I told you, I'm grateful for my toothbrush. And that's one of the things that makes me unique, is that I have been through a lot in my lifetime, and I've had many failures, and my persistence is relentless. My get up and go again is relentless. I have failed so many times, but I have gotten up more than I have failed.
Woo, baby. Woo! Talk to us. Come on. That's amazing. I love your spunkiness. That's why you have that red high heels there. Yeah, these women need a little bit of edginess on them, right? To be spunky. I like that.
You got to have edge. And I say this to all the ladies that I talk to. Yes, you feel like you're in a man's world. You do not have to not be feminine to be in a man's world. You don't have to flirt to be in a man's world. What you need is quiet self-confidence. How do you get that? Tiny step by tiny step. You need to know who you are, what you stand for. You need to know your integrity. I've said no. Learn to say no. This is the very first thing that I believe helps our growth. And no in a beautiful way, because then you start tapping into your empowerment. So, I joke a lot, I laugh, but when I get down to it, I like to go very, very deep, because that's where the root of everything is. That's where everything lies within our being. Everything's within our being. So what makes me unique is that I have amazing strength for a woman. Mental and emotional. My friends have seen me cry, but very rarely. I can understand what a person is going through within a few minutes. If they just sit and talk to me seriously, I can feel what they're feeling and not hear what they're saying.
Yes.
So I was with a guy named Gregory once, and he said, God, in 12 minutes, you told me all these things and I heard him, but I felt him. So you don't feel him because of what you do. You feel people by who you are. So I think that's unique about me.
That's powerful. Wow. That's pretty powerful stuff. Guys, we're coming to the end of our broadcast here about this amazing episode. I have some sayings or some scriptures or some verses or some quotes that I kind of lean back on that I say. What is one of your favorite quotes or one of your favorite verses that you stand on when it does get that point where it's like it's a little bit tough and maybe our identity's in our way, or that little season where we don't feel like doing anything?
Yes.
What do you stand on at that moment?
I love Richard Branson's philosophies and his mindset and how he appears to do things. And he said something that came one day when I needed it. Don't quit. If you get tired, rest. And that brings me up. And there's also some verses in the Bible.
That's so powerful, though. Think about what you just said. Don't quit.
Don't quit. Rest.
If you get tired, rest.
Rest. You're reaching for that next step. You could do it with ease, but you're still going to feel a little strain.
You know what? God is speaking to me today, because we moved into our house, and it's been like a long time since we moved. And August was a great month, but it wasn't, how can I say it, right? Since from January, I was going full steam, record-breaking months, and we had a great month last month.
Wonderful.
In August, but it wasn't like the previous months, right? And it's like, now that you say that, it's like God was allowing me to rest.
Yes.
You need to rest, because where I'm taking you to these next couple of months, it's like I need you to be. And I think sometimes we have such a hard time with resting.
Yes.
We feel guilty.
Yes. And I was just going to say, we don't rest because we feel guilty. So one day, not long ago, I said to my sister, I actually rested without feeling guilty, and I'm not going back. And she got it. She understood. We feel guilty. We live in a society that more, big, do. If you stand still while all this craziness is going on around you, your being is that powerful being, that diva inside of you, or diva for the guys. The O stands for outstanding. You then become bigger. That's why I say I'm 5'2", but I think I'm 6'4".
I love that. That really spoke to me. Don't quit. Rest. Right? Don't quit. Don't quit.
Just because you're tired, you're frustrated, and don't even say it. I've learned not to even say it. Maybe I should just quit. Really hear that. Hear that rolling around in your head. Hear that language. Words are power. They do not have power. Words are power. I am the diva that I am because I am learning to love my being and to project that to everyone that I reach, everyone that I come in contact with. I am totally confident in being who I am and not following the flock.
Wow. You just made my day. You know that? You just really made my day. We're going to have a private conversation when we get off the air.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love it.
So I know where to find you. Tell us the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. Where do we find the Red Heel Diva?
Well, you can find me at madelinespeaks.com. You can find me, and I have a number that I'm actually going to give. 954-589-0789. Call that number and tell me hello, and let's have a little chat. I love talking to people. Sometimes 15 minutes, you're good.
Awesome.
You can find me on Facebook. Just put Madeline Faiella in Google, and there's about 3 pages from all the different things I've done in my life. So
I'm going to go Google you right now.
Yeah, and I say that to let you know that, please, I think out of the box. I think differently, and sometimes to my own detriment from the view of the people outside of me. But do not, I implore you, do not follow the flock. Be your own leader, and with that, you will be more blessed and you will grow every single day. 1% by the end of the year, it's 365%. You are a badass diva.
Amen. Wow, what an episode today. If you love this amazing guest, I want to invite you to join our Distinctive Syndicate Facebook group. We want you to join our family, join our community, because together we make a difference. Together we inspire each other. Together we elevate each other to a new level of height. So we would love for you to join our Distinctive Syndicate, and also share this episode with somebody. Definitely her. I'll tell you what, you said, she said some powerful words. So thank you so much for tuning in. That's a wrap for this week's episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. We'll see you next week, and go back and study your notes, because when you study your notes, I promise you, you're going to pick up something that you missed just by reading it over. So thank you so much once again for tuning in. We'll see you next week here at the Daniel Gomez Inspired Show.
This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to DanielGomezInspires.com and get your copy today. That's DanielGomezInspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.